Everyone is fine? Oh, 6 p.m. Saturday, so congratulations for all of you trying to learn something new for you. Actually, claps for you, right? Oh. Today, I will teach you how I made my wife pissed off on my home. This is all about it, right? So I've been using some stuff to automate my home, but I will show you some like bad practices on it as well, okay? So first of all, I will show the whole journey using C++, and then when I really sucked using C++, and then I changed for JavaScript, and I got some new like productivity stuff, but it was like other drawbacks with it, okay? Well, as I'd like to start, I'm not an expert on it, so I'm still learning. So if you see something, take a picture, put it on Twitter, and let's check it out later. Well, before starting, I think the first question I had was a Raspberry Pi. What was a Raspberry Pi in a microcontroller? So I researched it a bit, but it wasn't like clear for me, so I'm gonna start for this point. First of all, the Raspberry Pi is a super tiny computer. You can have like games there, a server there, and a lot of stuff. And I would say that on IoT projects, you mostly don't need a Raspberry Pi to connect your sensors. Ooh, I'm gonna show you. So you can run a complete operating system, and it has actually 80 gigabytes RAM, 32 gigabytes flash, and you can expand, and it's a quad-core processor. So it's a machine that you can use to program in the daily days. It actually has like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and a lot of types of stuff. So microcontrollers. Microcontrollers are usually a small unit of processing. So this one is a Brazilian-made board. It has a lot of stuff as well. But the first thing that we can see that is a bit different here, it's like the RAM and the storage, right? So we have 32 kilobytes of memory. I'm a web developer, right? So I've never cared about memory and storage, but when going to IoT, it was a bit different. And it's a single core, but this microcontroller has Wi-Fi and a lot of stuff. But microcontrollers maybe doesn't sound familiar for you. Maybe you ever heard about Arduino. So it's the same kind of stuff, but the SP has more functionality, okay? Okay, first of all, I'm going to show some exciting projects that I've done at home, and I think it can give some ideas for you. And actually, I'm not a specialist, right? I'm learning with Google and searching a lot of it, and actually getting a lot of help of friends on the internet. So, I love beers, so why not building my own Google Assistant, right? Oh, I don't want to buy Alexa or Google Assistant. I can build my own. And in this case, look how it worked. I have a Raspberry Pi right there, but a beer can right there, and I have a Raspberry Pi inside it. So let me show you the whole plan for it. My plan was to have something on my main room, right? And near my door, I could recognize my friends. Like imagine your friends going out on the parties. I recognize the face, and the Google Assistant or my own assistant says, "Oh, welcome back. Oh, this is really nice." But you can make a lot of jokes and make like the experience on some of your parties at your home making better. Let me show you it working. So right here, I have this beer can, okay, and I have the Raspberry Pi inside it. And I have a second Raspberry Pi with a camera right there. And I will take a picture of myself. In this case, I'm using some APIs. But when it recognizes myself, it just like send a message to a channel. And we can see on the beer can just show some lights and say, "Whoa, welcome back." This for me was like the hardest part here was the LEDs, man. This was really crazy for me because I'm actually a software developer. Hardware for me was something crazy. Another stuff that I was like, oh man, I should do something. How many of you have watched The Purge? In Portuguese, it's like, I don't remember Portuguese. But there, they have like a glass, right? A VR. and the guy was playing it like moving the car with it. I was like, oh, maybe I could do something like this. So I did my own version. It's actually a prototype. It's nothing close. But there you can see I'm using a microcontroller, which is the ESP32, and I hacked the PS3 controller joystick to do it. So it's working. So I'm trying to learn how to drive with it. But man, you cannot feel like when you see the thing moving on the floor. It's really nice. Okay, and the last one was a door controller that I made to like fix my problem of moving around, like to get the guests at my house. So when I send a command from the website, you can see some lights changing right there. And then if I run to the garden, I can see the door open. Oh, this I made like in 20 minutes because it was so straightforward to make it, but the wiring part to harder part was nice. Okay, that's it. Okay. Now let me show you something even better, right? Well, I have to tell you, I have a disclaimer right here. Actually, I have a question first. How many of you are living with someone, would be your parents or with some like marriage something? Okay, if you start doing something like this, you can face some problems. Like you can start having friends make some nasty on your dinner table every weekend. So maybe the people won't like it, okay? So just to tell the whole automation thing that I've been doing here, I moved to a house and I had a problem. Like I have to wake, like when I'm going to sleep, I have to walk through my house and like start turning off all the lights. I was like, man, I am a programmer. I don't like to do like manual stuff. So I decided to do this. And a friend of mine just say, man, I can do it as a consultant, but I'm eager to help you and learn and teach you how to do it. I was like, this is amazing, the best part of our community. So the idea was, I have the light switch, right? So the writer is there, I have my wall, and I have the microcontroller, in this case was the ESP8266, and I have the relay, which is like to cut the energy or send energy, but it's pretty straightforward. I have one cable going to the relay and one cable going to like a button on the light switch. And all this works for all of them. So to turn it off, I just send one to the microcontroller and it sends like to the relay to cut the energy, and that's it. I got also some sensors to get to know like the embassy, like the humidity and the temperature sensors there. And actually, I want to see like the density of the lights, right? To get to know if it's like off or on. And I was actually, back then I was thinking, how could I automate it? But that's fine. This is how I pissed off my wife, right? A lot of wires going there. She looked at me really crazy, I remember. But it's actually working. Like I have an app right there. Oh, lights turning on and off. This is the hello world on IoT. For me, it was really nice. But then this was the most expensive piece of my project. Yeah, the air conditioner box, I bought it. I just realized when you're working with IoT, the hardest part is to hide the wires. So yeah, but at the end, my wife approved. So she's doing a review there. She published this video on her Instagram. Was like, okay, good job. Okay, to make all these things work, I've been using the platform IO, which is a very nice platform to like deploy, monitor, and check how your application are going there. For me, it was nice because you can have a config file, you can set up all your libraries and your a board that you want to work. But as a developer, as a software developer, what I like most was I can make some integration tests. So the problem for me was I was working and then I just like crashed and some wires just disconnected. And I was like, how do I know if the connection is actually working? So I have like a small CI working. I publish the test first. I make sure all the sensors are working fine. And then I publish my code. So this is, I was like, oh, this is software development on the hardware. Well, for code, as we are programmers, we are lazy, right? So I think this is the best part of being programmer. We try to automate a lot of stuff. And I've been using NodeRed for it. So NodeRed, you can drag and drop functions and you can have like a server in just a few minutes. So this is how it's working at my home. On the right side, we have it's the left for you, right? Yeah. On the left side, you have the UI. That is not cool at all, just a backend, front end, right? And there we have the flows on the NodeRed side. So here, let me show it working. So I have all the rooms on my house. I can click in which one. You can see all the sensors working right there. And right on if I click on the buttons, you can see it changing in real time. So NodeRed for me was a game changing. I'm gonna show you other flows. So when you click on a button, it sends a message to a channel. So I'm just logging the channel right here. And then I have everything for the weather. So I received the message from the channel. I just got the JSON and sent to the command. Pretty straightforward. If you're developers, you're gonna love this kind of stuff, because you can actually like pay more attention with something harder, right? Like machine learning, other stuff. In this case, I have the light and I have a little spoiler there, which is how I solve the problem to turn off and lights automatically on my home. But I'm gonna show you later, okay? But I thought, man, this is not, it's not smart enough, right? So just a problem. This came from my wife as well. Every time I was going to the main room with some dishes, I had to put on my dishes on the table, grab my phone, establish a connection, open the app, and click, and the lights turns on, right? It was much easier just to press the light switch, right? So I was like, no, let's try doing something better. So this is my little brother helping me a lot with it. So I got a sensor there, and the lights magically, whoa, turning on. Actually, I disabled the sound because I was cheering a lot on this video. So this is the feeling of being a real developer, the feeling of this is not a CRUD anymore. This is something real that I'm changing my life. Well, we are developers, right? We know that it's not every time that everything works as we expected. I was using a radar sensor. They send a sensor and it's just reverberating on the room. So sometimes the lights just turn on, and my girlfriend, my wife just said, I'm afraid of ghosts, right? So it was reverberating, and you see the lights turn on and off, and she's like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. So yeah, it's not working. So I was about to say, man, let's using power of computing. So I bought this other ESP32, which has a camera, and it promises not only to detect faces, but also recognize that you is you and also everything. Just remembering, it's a 4 megabytes board, man. This is the RAM. It's on maximum, I think, 320 kilobytes. So this is crazy, crazy. Well, I got this one. And on this case, I was just testing. So I was taking pictures, sending to NodeRed, and I can see right there, it detecting my face in almost real time. So I was like, now I have all set. I have the sensors just saying, but the camera will do the job. The camera will take a picture, count how many people are there, and then I can do everything. Back then, imagine 5 years ago, 10 years ago, man, I just want to count people. Now, just let's use machine learning on it. This is crazy. But yeah, C++ is hard. I was talking to someone here, like I've learned a lot of JavaScript doing C++, but I wasn't like, okay, I'm like, it's not very good. I was spending too much time on it. And then I figured the Espruino. The Espruino is a hack. It's like the V8 for the web, right? You write JavaScript and it makes mappings for C++. It makes mappings for the API on the Arduino. So I was like, oh, not only the Arduino, but by whole microcontrollers. Back then, I was trying to use the Johnny 5. Have you heard about Johnny 5? Johnny 5 was a super popular one too, but you have to keep connected your USB cable. I was like, no, man, I want to put this like on my wall and just make it work. So with Espruino, I can access it via DNS on my network. So it was pretty nice. Okay, using Espruino, the cool thing is it was designed to run on devices as little as 120 kilobytes flash and 80 kilobytes RAM. This is crazy. I was like, how this is possible, right? Because we are competing a lot of processing. Actually, running things on these microcontrollers, we can see, oh, this is something that we should have done, right? Because it's JavaScript and other processing, but it really works well. Well, I thought, let's rewrite everything, right? So I got all my code of C++ and I was like mapping by eye. I was just trying to make it work there. And I just look at on the docs from the Espruino. I said, oh, that's everything here. It's pretty straightforward. But then I just realized the code. The code was like an interval there. All my functions were working fine. Actually, were written fine, right? I didn't test yet. We test only in production, right? So I was saying, okay, this is time to upload my code. So when I upload it, yeah, it's programming, right? It doesn't work as we expect sometimes. I realized I just get like, I use all memory on the device. So I was like, oh my God. But this is the problem of the microcontrollers, right? It's small units of processing. So you can use for specific reasons, but if you need more power, you can use other stuff for it. But okay, I figured out how to do it. So this is the final prototype. As you can see, I'm a very good backend developer, right? Because making boxes, everything that is related to design, I think it's not on me. So, but it's working, right? I think the most problem that I have here is how to fit it on the wall, because look at how many wires I have there. But just to see like the logs or something working right there, we can run it and we can see the logs on the NodeRed, all of the flows working on. And the backend for it was ridiculous easy. It's not because I know it. I actually didn't know anything of that. I was just copying, pasting libraries and try to change boxes, and it was really straightforward. If you want to do like hackathons, this is the best way to do it. Like just drag and drop, you can create a lot of endpoints so easily. It's like magic. Well, how to get started? You can go to the Espruino, download the binaries, and then you can basically run everything on your like via CLI. So here I have the binaries, a few codes. I put it here because I will like share these slides with you later so you can try it out. But then we have an npm package. Oh, npm C-JS, no C++JS, right? Oh, so you install it and you can whether choose the port or whether choose the DNS. This for me was game changing because imagine I have all devices on my home. I don't want to go to all like pieces to every wall, plus like plug in my USB, make a deployment, and test this later, right? So you can access it. And the cool thing about Espruino, it's because you can access it as a SSH, so it's completely different. Or if you are like interface people, you can have the Espruino IDE. So there you can like write your code on the right, and you can see all the results on the left. This is really good. I'm gonna show some of this stuff later, but don't worry, I'll show all of the links right on the last slide. Okay, the first challenge I faced. This framework or this interpreter was meant to work on Espruino device, which is a company, right? But they found some similarities, so we can like using other boards. But I found it really hard, and I think there's a lot to improve, right? So I just connected the founder. I think this is a project of a single people. I'm not sure, but I think so. And I tried to reach them because there are a lot of generic errors. So sometimes the intervals, you know, JavaScript, right? Intervals, set timeouts, and I'm gonna show the most problem for you, that which was really for me. And libraries, there are a lot of libraries, but there's still a lot to going on. There's still a lot to improve. So if you try to make something, you're gonna find like 100 posts on how to do on C++, but it will be hard to find it, how to use on Espruino. But as long as you try it out, I'm sure that the library will increase. And for me, I think I am biased developer, right? Because I don't want to work with callbacks anymore. I'm not sure if you like callbacks. I don't like to work with .then or .catch promises. So it was crazy for me. And the JS API is limited. So there's some like trials on like 4 years trying to use Babel to translate the code to the JS version that we will run here, but it didn't work well for me. So if you look at the page, you can see all the dashes, all the hyphens there actually. A lot of that doesn't support, and for me, the worst was async functions, async generations, and so on. But even so, if you try out, you can map all of these functions on like Babel to translate as you want or any other translator. But yeah, I'm here to talk about benefits. Oh. So you don't need to compile your code. You're working with microcontrollers or C++. You have to compile on your machine, you have to upload your code, and then you have to monitor. Some boards requires you to plug in another port on the microcontroller, so it's pretty hard sometimes. With this tool, you publish a flash once, and then you access remotely via SSH or just from your VS Code or even from the web page. And you don't need to configure the over-the-air updates. This is more familiar for those who works already with Arduino and other stuff with C++, that you have to inject a code to enable like updates from your DNS and so on. So this is native, so this is really nice. And the Espruino IDE helps a lot. So I was talking to you like, this is a small flash memory, right? We have 4 megabytes, and I didn't realize, but when you are translating code, it's generic code, right? So maybe there's a lot of trash going on. So with the IDE, they minify your code, they try to improve your code, and you can do a lot better. And actually, this is why I'm talking to you guys today. It's because you can use your current knowledge on JS to make everything at your home. If you have a med-sized project, if you have idea, or if you're trying to improve something at your home, you can use JS. I'm gonna talk to you just briefly. I had an idea. When I'm walking my dogs, we usually go to a park, and this park is pretty big, but it's crazy. I just left my dog, and she's going so fast, and then she pooped far away from me. And I was like an investigator. I was like, where did she poop? I was like, oh my God. So I bought, she's my wife. This is why she's like. So I bought some sensors. I mean, this is kind of my science, right? I bought some sensors it's like a night vision, but actually it's a heat sensor to see like the temperature of the soil, and you can map everything. I paid like 50 reais to make it. It was pretty easy, but I'm thinking I didn't try yet. But now I'm gonna wake with my cell phone and just look at the graphics to try finding the poop. But it's something that was like, oh man, you could try finding it. But this is cool because you can learn a lot of stuff new. You can not use only your profession for profession, right? You can use for your own fun. And final words, man. I am the only thing between you and the beers today, so I hope you like this talk. But all of the things here, it's for you to use your knowledge to make things new, right? I was trying to learn machine learning, but I was like, I'm not good at math as Rafael, right? I was like, lambda calculus, oh my God. I saw this like a few years ago, but I have no idea. But using Google and using your own knowledge and your crazy ideas will make you a better person, right? You can like make a lot of things. You can make toys for your children or even you, right? The car I made, the remote car, didn't go to any child. I am the child who likes it, right? And try adding sensors. Just adding buttons there doesn't sound for me really good. So I was like, okay, this is just on and off. But when you add sensors, you can add some like programmable stuff. Oh, okay, now maybe my temperature it's getting higher than I expect. Maybe there's a fire at my home. So you can like act someone, call the police, and make a lot of stuff. I'm just getting some ideas, but I'm sure that you will sleep and think about these ideas. And actually learn JavaScript. JavaScript is fun. JavaScript is not a library on that's not like the language that you use just for forms. You can do a lot of stuff. And right now, use a lot of Espruino and try it out because as many as feedback as we can give for the community, this will grow a lot. Well, all of my talks will be on my website soon, so if you want to take a look at there, I'm let all these links at the end of the presentation. Well, here is the all slides. If you can take a picture, you can take a picture. You have the QR codes right there, and the slides is here. So please take a picture, publish on Twitter, publish it everywhere. Let's spread the word of JavaScript for everyone, right? Okay, so thank you so much for having me. Oh.